This video is a more recent Lowsec video where I'm flying with Kaloa. I like to fly with Kaloa because I tend to get more fights. People are more at ease about engaging me. So I'm with Kaloa. This one, if you're looking at this on release day, this fight happened probably 2 weeks before release, maybe a week and a half, something like that. But it's a pretty recent fight, and it's a pretty good one. So let's go ahead and start it. I came into Lowsec here. I just had a long destination. I was headed back to Syndicate, but I think I had been over somewhere around, I don't know, Amar. I'm not even sure. Evidently, I'm in Mimitar space, so I must have been doing something here. And I went to a large, which was basically my main strategy whenever I was in Lowsec. This was the strategy I used. I would go to a large site or plex or whatever they call them, faction warfare site, and then I would just align in case something uncloaked. You don't want a pilgrim to uncloak right on top of you and you're not aligned and you get caught. And so this looks like something I could fight here. I'm thinking, okay, Rupture and Incursus. That looks pretty nice. I can certainly kill the Rupture. I can certainly kill the Incursus. This is a fight I can take, but something that's making me a little bit uneasy about it, causes me to warp off there, is for one, there's a Brutix on scan, plus a Fed Navy comments that I haven't seen yet. And then I see the Brutix has just warped in. You can see he's decelerating out of warp right there. And while, yeah, I probably can take the Rupture and the Incursus, I can't take all three. And the Brutix is very likely to have a scram, which turns off my MJD. I don't have EC300s on this fit right now because Kaloa didn't have the skills to use EC300s. I've since trained it for him, but in this video, he didn't have that, which, maybe that would have been an option to kill two of them, ECM the Brutix, and then leave. What I decided to do instead in this case is just warp to the gate. Now, they saw me warp to the gate. I knew they would see me warp to the gate, and that's just fine. I was thinking about engaging this Incursus here on the gate. You see, I almost pulled out my drones there, but I know they're all coming. And, before I go crazy and engage something, maybe I should first see if they'll take gate guns. So what would have happened if I engaged? I didn't think I got a chance, but he jumped before I could try. If I had engaged the red flashy Incursus, then he would be able to shoot back at me. However, my aggro, since he was already criminal, wouldn't have hurt me. So these two guys, the Brutix and Rupture, would still have to take gate guns to get into the fight. He jumped away, so okay, I'm sit here. And a lot of times, this is the same stuff as my first videos I ever did in PvP. Is when you're in Lowsec, whenever possible, use the gate guns to your favor. It can make a huge difference. So, right, I have to assume, let's just do a little quick assessment of these ships. Rupture is going to be decent, maybe 20,000 hit points, could be up to 30,000, could be repping Rupture with DPS outputs somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 to 400. Brutix is going to be very similar to mine. Most likely, when you run across a Brutix these days, it's less certain, but you got to figure it's maybe 50-50 chance it's going to be a rep Brutix versus a whole tank Brutix. I usually think that you'll see more repping Brutixes than you will whole tank. So I could engage right now, but I think to myself, well, why engage now when I've got the Rupture isolated out of the fight? I can just jump through. Let's jump through, leave the Rupture on the other side. He's got his aggression timer now, so I've got some time on this side all by myself to see what I can do. So what I do is I reapproach gate. I want to just get things rolling here as quickly as possible because the aggression of that of the Rupture is going to run out. So I want to keep the Rupture out of the fight for as long as possible. I didn't know that this Brutix would engage me. I was hoping he would. They seemed pretty aggressive, so I thought there was a good chance. So I see this, and then that's just go time. I need to go right now. I hesitated a little bit more than I would have liked there, and just engage the Brutix. So I see he's taking gate guns. That means it's time to go. I should have engaged. I see that I'm not going to make it back to gate. I'm hesitating. It's not good. Engage, engage, engage. Don't need to use keep at 3K. It's not going to help any. Engage. See, that hesitation, I hate to see myself do that. I should have engaged sooner. Don't need to keep it 3K. You want to keep him a little bit closer. He's a big target. You don't really have to worry too much about tracking on him. Now, what I notice is this Incursus is here engaging as well. So if you'll notice here in a second, the Incursus is going the gun cycle. So there's a 30-second timer on gate guns, station guns too, I believe. And so basically what happens is, since the Brutix aggroed me first, there's 2 sentry guns on the gate. Each one is 175 DPS of, you know, no specific damage type, just whatever damage, I don't know. But 175 DPS from each gun. So both of them guns are on the Brutix at the very beginning of the fight. Therefore, the Brutix is taking my DPS, which is around 600-ish, because I'm in the fit with the extra. I'm pretty sure I'm in the extra, the one without the mag stab, so the non-mag stab with an extra internal force field, not internal, reinforced bulkhead. I don't know why I said that. Okay, so after 30 seconds, one gun will cycle, or both guns cycle actually. If you have 2 targets on the field, what they'll do is they'll split across the 2 targets. And then they cycle every 30 seconds, moving from target to target. That's the basic mechanic of that. And they haven't changed that in a very long time that I know of. So what I see here is, and this is really important to know, I see that the Incursus is hurting real bad. And I know that, you know, an Incursus Tech 1 frigate just cannot stand up to gate guns for long at all. It's typically, it's something you know, they just die very fast to gate guns, because the gate guns track perfectly. You can't mess with the tracking of a gate gun. It's 100% tracking, 100%, you know, damage applied with no misses or anything else. So since the Brutix, I know this Brutix he's already committed himself to this fight. And since he's committed himself to the fight, I don't have to worry about keeping him pointed the whole time. He probably thinks he's winning because I'm in structure. He's so far repping me without too much trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my point on the Incursus until the Incursus dies, because it's not going to take long for him to die. I don't even have to put DPS on him. Now that he's off the field, there's a chance that Rupture hasn't taken guns yet. So most likely what's happened now that he's off the field, definitely what's happened now, is that both the guns have now cycled back to the Brutix. So while the Brutix got a little bit of a relief there, while the Incursus was taking guns, that relief is now gone. So this is where the mechanics of aggro and Lowsec start to get a little bit complicated. The Rupture aggroed me on the other side of the gate. Therefore, he had a limited engagement timer with me. So now that he's engaging again on this side of the gate, he doesn't get any guns. So he's not taking any damage whatsoever from the sentries at this point. The Brutix is getting all of the damage from the sentries, which is very much in my favor. I'm down to about 50% structure. I need to overload my guns as much as possible. I've got to be careful about my capacitor. So you saw I just turned my newt off. Yeah, it helps to newt him to cap dead as much as possible and to strain his capacitor. But at the same time, he's got, because he's a dual rep fit, he's got a cap booster. So he has defense against newting, right? The Rupture is now newting me. My capacitor there's no way for me to regenerate my capacitor. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's a limited resource, and when you're being newted, then that removes all of your recharge. So now it's just a race to the bottom in capacitor. Can I hold my capacitor up long enough to finish this Brutix? Because in this fight, Brutix versus Brutix, you know, that's a fair fight, right? Now, I'm taking on, you know, more than just a Brutix versus Brutix, so I need to overload as much as possible. I shouldn't have that newt on. I don't think it's really making much difference as far as weakening his tank. Most likely what it is he had an AAR. He had a medium AAR and a Tech 2 medium armor repair, and the AAR ran out. And so that's what happened right there, and that's why his reps just completely melted and fell off. So now, newting a Rupture, again, that was stupid. Why would you newt a Rupture? It's not going to help you any. You know, if he's an active tank, maybe it'll help a little bit, but he's newting me, and I'm real low on cap. It's not the right thing to do here. I should not have ran the newt. It's just, you know, means I'll get 1 or 2 less cycles of my guns on this Rupture. I'm extremely, extremely, extremely low on capacitor and hit points. I am very, very low. Now, something important to note, had I not had this fit, maybe I wouldn't have been successful. You know, I may not have been successful if I had this fit, and I mean, if I had the other fit, the one with the mag stab, I would have had less hit points. Therefore, I would have had less time to wait for that AAR to run out of charges for that Brutix. So maybe I wouldn't have gotten that kill, and it would have been just a crappy loss. But so far now, it's been a win. I got a frigate, Tech 1 frigate, and a Brutix of equal value when I was outnumbered 3-1. So you can see I'm cap dead. No more damage control for a second there. That hurts pretty bad. And no more guns. So the fight's really over at that point. If I had more capacitor, if I didn't run the rep, if I would have engaged at the very beginning, had I engaged right there, that first moment when I said that I hesitated, had I engaged right then, that extra 5 seconds without the Rupture on field, 5, maybe 10 seconds, that would have made a huge difference. I may have been able to either escape, or more than likely I would have been able to possibly kill that Rupture as well. But in this, didn't work. So that was the fight there, and I count that as a win. You took on, it was basically an enhanced 1 versus 1. It was 1 versus 3, and I killed the equal ship to mine. So I was pretty happy with that. And if you're out in the Brutix and you're in Lowsec, then it seems to be a pretty solid way to get fights. Is just to go to a line, stay aligned, watch your directional, and let the fights come to you. And then if it looks like it's a little bit too much, you can take it to the gate and get gate guns on your side.